The Cooke. A historical fiction of love, identity and fate by S.J. Jeppsson. Chapter 3. A Meeting of Fate. The towering wrought-iron gates of Boundary Oak Academy stood like silent sentinels as the carriage rumbled along the winding gravel drive. The rhythmic clip-clop of the horses' hooves echoed through the vast, mist-laden grounds, blending with the distant trill of birdsong. Beyond the gates, the grand estate rose in stately splendour, its weathered stone facade softened by draping ivy and wild-climbing roses that spilled over trellises, their pale blooms kissed with morning dew. The air was thick with the crisp scent of damp earth, mingling with the soothing aroma of lavender that drifted from the carefully manicured gardens. As Kate peered through the carriage window, anticipation hummed beneath her ribs. This was where her future, uncertain and full of possibility, would finally begin. Kate's role was simple in theory. She would assist the young heiress in packing her trunks, ensuring that silks, satins and lace were folded with the utmost care, that fine gloves and delicate ribbons were placed in their proper cases. But beneath the surface of duty lay something far more delicate, the intricate dance of unfamiliarity, where stolen glances and measured words would shape the coming days. They would have a week to learn one another's mannerisms, to weave trust between them before they stepped aboard the most magnificent ship in the world. And once they did, there would be no turning back. The vast, unknowable Atlantic lay ahead, stretching toward a foreign shore, toward a future uncharted. Spring term had drawn to a quiet close the week before, and the once lively halls of Boundary Oak Academy now stood eerily still. The girls who weren't bound for distant shores or summer retreats had long since departed, their laughter fading into memory. Only Lydia remained. Lydia and Kate, who had been sent to help her prepare for the journey ahead. Inside, the headmaster's office carried the weight of time itself, thick with the scent of aged parchment and polished oak. The afternoon sun streamed through the leaded glass windows, scattering fractured ribbons of golden light across the intricately woven Persian rug. Dust motes waltzed lazily in the beams, undisturbed by the quiet hush that had settled over the room. Seated in a high-backed chair, Lydia Weatherby looked every inch the young lady of society. A poised, carefully composed figure, draped in fine muslin and lace. Chestnut curls cascaded over her shoulder in soft, artful waves, catching the light with a warm auburn glow. Her dark brown eyes, deep and unreadable, flickered with some unspoken thought as she absently twisted the delicate embroidery on her sleeve between slender fingers. She did not fidget like a girl uncertain of her place, only toyed with the edge of her sleeve, as if boredom was something to be worn like jewelry. Instead, she watched, waiting, measuring Kate in a way that made it clear she was not one to be easily impressed. Headmaster Ashford, a stately man with a neatly trimmed moustache and a distinguished air, rested his hands atop the polished mahogany desk, his silver pocket watch gleaming faintly in the fractured sunlight. With an approving nod in Kate's direction, he spoke with the measured cadence of a man accustomed to command. "Miss Weatherby, this is Catherine Cooke. She will be accompanying you on your journey to New York." Lydia Weatherby turned her gaze toward Kate, her dark eyes sweeping over her with quiet calculation. It was not an unkind look, merely one of interest, of curiosity. Her assessment was thorough, lingering just a second too long, as if searching for some unspoken truth beneath the surface. Then, ever so slowly, a knowing smile curled at the corners of her lips.
"We could be twins,"
she mused, her voice lilting with amusement. Kate tensed, though she had known it the moment their eyes met. The resemblance was striking, uncanny even. Lydia's features were slightly sharper, her cheekbones more pronounced, her bearing one of effortless refinement. But their chestnut hair, their deep brown eyes, the shape of their lips. It was enough to give one pause. "Ha! I believe we have found your doppelganger, Miss Weatherby," Headmaster Ashford remarked with a chuckle, his eyes crinkling in bemusement. Kate straightened, offering a polite nod. "It's an honour to assist you, Miss Weatherby." Lydia exhaled a breathy laugh, tilting her head as she regarded Kate with renewed interest. "Oh, let's not stand on ceremony," she said, waving a delicate hand in a way that suggested she had little patience for rigid formality. "I have a feeling we'll get along just fine. As I mentioned, Miss Weatherby, Kate will be accompanying you aboard the Titanic as your companion and lady's maid," Ashford explained smoothly. "You will have a first-class stateroom, of course. Kate will be accommodated in a second-class cabin, a private one, arranged through my contacts with White Star Line." Lydia tilted her head curiously. "Oh, and she'll be working on the ship as well?" "Yes," Ashford confirmed. "Kate will be serving you personally, bringing your breakfast, assisting with your hair and wardrobe, tidying your accommodations. However, in the evenings, she will also be working in the first-class dining service." Lydia's lips curved into an amused smirk. "So she's half lady's maid, half stewardess?" "Precisely," Ashford replied, his expression unreadable. "It is an opportunity that will serve her well upon arrival in America." Kate glanced at Lydia, uncertain how the young socialite would react. To her surprise, Lydia simply let out a soft laugh and shrugged. "I don't mind sharing, just as long as she knows how to lace a corset properly." Kate smirked. "I grew up in a bakery. If I can tie up a bread loaf, I can manage a corset." Lydia laughed, genuinely this time, and Kate felt the tension between them dissolve like sugar in tea. Fair enough. A glint of mischief flickered in Lydia's gaze before she leaned forward slightly, lowering her voice as though sharing a secret. "I suppose if I must have a lady's companion, I'm lucky she isn't horrid to look at." Kate let out an unexpected laugh, the last of her nervousness melting away like frost in the morning sun. And just like that, the foundation of a friendship was laid, one that neither of them yet understood would change everything. For the next few days, Kate helped Lydia pack, carefully folding silken gowns and delicate lace into polished wooden trunks while the two of them talked. About Weatherby House in New York, about Lydia's parents, Charles and Margaret Weatherby, about the summers of her childhood spent chasing a mischievous golden cocker spaniel named Winston through the sprawling gardens. Kate found Lydia's accent oddly charming, a curious blend of crisp English refinement and the softened lilt of her American roots. It wasn't quite British, not entirely, yet it lacked the full roundness of an American drawl. Years spent among the clipped vowels of Hampshire's upper crust had woven themselves into her speech, smoothing her R's and sharpening her consonants. At times she sounded like a duchess, at others like a girl who still dreamed in the wide-open cadence of New York. Kate couldn't help but smile at the way Lydia pronounced certain words, as if every sentence was caught mid-Atlantic, drifting somewhere between home and here. As they talked, Kate quickly learned that Lydia had opinions about everything, but none more sharply delivered or more playfully scorned than the topic of her future husband, the fiancé who awaited her in America.
Lord Thomas Hollingsworth. That is the Right Honourable Viscount Thomas Alexander.
She drew in a theatrical breath.
James Nathaniel Pierce Hollingsworth, heir apparent to the Earl of Grantham.
She inhaled with mock solemnity.
But if you say the whole name in one breath, you risk fainting.
She leaned forward conspiratorially.
By the time I finish addressing the envelope, the wedding will be over.
Technically, he was still in London, attending to business affairs. But soon enough, within a week of her arrival in America, he would be arriving in New York, where the grand wedding would take place. Lydia rolled her eyes at the mention of his name, stretching lazily across the settee with the air of a woman utterly unimpressed by the fate that had been chosen for her. A wealthy, respectable match, she intoned with mock solemnity, pressing a hand to her chest as though reciting a passage from scripture. Think of it, Kate. A life of luxury, a handsome husband. What more could a girl possibly want? Well, Kate giggled, shaking her head as she smoothed the folds of an embroidered evening gown. I don't know about marrying a stranger. Lydia half laughed, tossing a silk sash into the trunk with careless amusement. Then don't. Just tell him you aren't interested. Kate paused, frowning slightly. I don't suppose it's that easy when your parents have already made the decision for you. Lydia exhaled dramatically, flopping onto the bed with her arms stretched over her head, her chestnut curls spilling over the embroidered pillows. You'd be surprised how many things I get away with. Kate chuckled, tucking another garment into place. Maybe, but I suppose refusing an arranged marriage isn't one of them. For a moment, Lydia said nothing. She absently twirled the chain of her locket around her fingers, her dark eyes distant, contemplative. When she finally spoke, her voice was quieter, tinged with something Kate couldn't quite place. I suppose that's the difference between us, Lydia murmured. You grew up knowing your future was your own. I've always known mine was decided for me. Kate stilled, watching her carefully. That doesn't bother you? A small, wistful smile tugged at Lydia's lips. Sometimes I think it should. But the truth is, I don't even know what it would feel like to choose my own path. Kate hesitated, weighing her next words before she spoke them aloud. Maybe you still can. Lydia met her gaze, something unreadable flickering behind her eyes. Then, after a beat, she gave a soft, knowing laugh and rolled onto her side. We'll see, won't we? Kate exhaled softly, gently placing a folded gown into the polished trunk. Your family must have a great deal of faith in the Hollingsworths to arrange something like this. Lydia laughed in acknowledgement. Oh, yes, they do. And Lord Hollingsworth apparently has enough faith in my family to trust his son with me. She giggled to herself. She smirked slightly, as if the idea amused her. Anyway, there was something about an old connection, I suppose. The name Cooke came up when the match was being discussed. Apparently my father was told your mother had some sort of history with them. Kate blinked in mild surprise. I suppose she did. My mother was once a governess for the Hollingsworths. Before she married my father. Lydia's brow arched slightly, but she didn't seem particularly interested in the details. That must be why they approved you as my companion, then. A familiar name eases the nerves, I imagine. I guess so, Kate mused. But before the thought could settle, Lydia pushed herself upright, stretching luxuriously before reaching for another gown to fold. Well, in any case, it's done. We'll be on that ship soon enough. Kate offered a small, knowing smile. Yes, we will, she answered matter-of-factly. And just like that, Kate stepped into Lydia Weatherby's world, a world of silk and lace, shadowed by secrets, and stitched with the shimmer of impossible dreams.